Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm posting a really quick challenge video as I had an idea this morning. Yesterday, the incomparable Lindsay the Frugal Crafter painted in her usual Friday live tutorials a beautiful photograph of the coastline of Kent in England, and amongst the colours she chose was Naples Yellow, which is one of my favourites on account of the fact that she just doesn't use it very much. So I suggested this morning, wouldn't it be really cool if we had a little game where we pick 3 or 4 colours that we would never normally use and try and paint with them. And throughout the day today, it's kind of come to me to make this a bit more complicated. So what I'm going to do is, here are the rules of the game. Anyone can join in. All you have to do is comment below to link to your video, and you're going to need to make 2 videos or blog posts. Doesn't have to be a video, it can be a blog post as well. One is setting up what colours you're going to use and why you chose them, and the next one is actually your finished product, your actual finished piece of work. The rules are as follows. You can't have more than 6 colours. That's the maximum, and I'm going to say 3 is the minimum. You don't have to do like split primaries or anything. You could do 6 shades of green if you really wanted to. The only rule is they have to be colours that you do not usually use. So these need to be those colours that you bought and totally neglected. You bought them because they're pretty in the tube, but you haven't yet found a use for them. And it wasn't actually that difficult for me to find 6 amongst my own colours because there are way more than 6 that I don't use on a regular basis. When you've chosen them, what you're going to have to do with them is paint a picture. I'm going to say nothing huge, but you can't cheat and do postcard size, so it needs to be a bit bigger than a postcard so that at least you've got the opportunity to use all the colours that you chose. You paint it using just those colours. You can't add any other colours, with the exception that you could add white gouache if you need snow or seafoam or something like that. That's allowable. You can use masking fluid, you can use mediums, you can use anything you like. You cannot paint for more than 30 minutes, so it's a 30-minute painting, no more. What you do in your 2 posts, the first post is you show the colours you're going to use, show swatches of them, explain why you chose them, and then you tag other painters, other YouTubers, other bloggers, and challenge them to do the same thing. You then have 24 hours to think about what you're actually going to paint, and then you paint it and you post the finished painting, which, let's be honest, is probably going to look pretty awful because we're using all those colours we can't find a use for. And you could either video the whole painting process and speed it up and do a voiceover, or you might just want to talk through the finished painting and what you learned from doing it, and which of the colours that maybe you're going to try and integrate a bit more into your everyday painting and maybe use a little bit more. So that's kind of the ground rules, but take it and run with it, guys. You can do anything you want with it. So this is my, as well as sending the challenge, and of course I'm going to tag Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter, because she thought this was a good idea as well. So, your go. And I'm going to show you the colours I've chosen, and I'm going to explain why. So these are all Winsor & Newton professional artist grade watercolours, and I'll explain them. Naples Yellow, I actually use a reasonable amount, so I'm kind of cheating here. I chose it because it's the colour that kind of caused me to come up with the idea, if you like, so I thought I'd use it. And just to explain the colour to anyone who's not au fait with it, you can see it here. It's this wonderful sandy yellow. It's not the best colour for beaches. The best colour for beaches, in my view, is titanium buff, but Winsor & Newton don't make it, and I really need to buy some. I have it in acrylic, but they don't make it in watercolour, and I really need to buy some for the summer for painting beach scenes. But this can be really good for sunset. I nearly said Sunset Beach, and that was that awful yet wonderful soap in the 1990s that had the most ludicrous plots imaginable. But it's good for painting a beach at sunset, so it does have its uses. The next colour I chose, just to explain the chemistry of the colour, I suppose, titanium white is basically white gouache, effectively, and chromantimony titanate is the sort of orangey yellow that's in here. So it's actually a mixture of this with a white, so it's a fairly opaque colour. Next colour is bismuth yellow, which is a pure pigment colour made of bismuth vanadate, which is this wonderful, the camera doesn't do it justice, it's a wonderful, almost psychedelic yellow in mass tone, but once you paint it down and it becomes transparent, it's actually a very, very nice colour that's sort of, it's almost like purified sunlight. You could use it in all sorts of ways. Sunlight on a white wall, for example, I could see working. And I have bought this and never used it. So that's hence why I'm using it today. Potter's Pink, the bane of my life. I love the idea of this colour, but I just could never find a use for it. I've done the odd sketch using it, of again people at sunset, because it's kind of a sunsetty sort of that muted colour when the sunlight becomes very red. It works really well, but I just can't find a use for the bloody thing. So hence I'm going to challenge myself to use it. It's a pure pigment again, and it's a colour which is made of chrome tin pink, which is a chromium tin silicate. So it's a very insoluble pigment. It granulates a lot, it lifts really easily, it doesn't stain the paper. It has a tendency to actually over-granulate, as you can see here, and kind of clump. So I'll probably be trying out some Oxgall to see if I can get some nice effects using it, smooth it out a little bit so that it doesn't look too clumpy. And it originated as a pigment used in the glazing on pottery, hence the name Potter's Pink. I think the apostrophe should come after the S because it's the pink that multiple potters used, not the one potter used. So grammar monitor in me feels that really they need to spell it properly. The next one is indigo, and I must state it is fake indigo, as Winsor & Newton don't sell genuine indigo, which annoys the hell out of me. What they actually sell is a mixture of carbon black, quinacridone violet, and phthalo blue, which does approximate the colour of indigo, this sort of dark greyish blue. However, real indigo is totally insoluble in water, so you would get a very, very heavily granulating colour, much like Potter's Pink, were this the real thing. Indigo in reality is a plant extract from a plant that I think comes from India, and it's actually totally insoluble in water. So to make denim jeans indigo, what they do is they chemically reduce it to a colourless pigment called leuco indigo, which is very soluble, and they soak the jeans, or the cotton cloth I should say, the denim cloth, in leuco indigo solution, and it soaks in, and then they lift them out and hang them in the air, and it chemically reacts with the air and reoxidizes into the insoluble blue, and that's how it stays in the fibre, because it was deposited there and it's not soluble at all. So it's a very specific type of dyeing. But anyway, it would be a lovely colour if it was the real thing, but again, I have it. I don't really use it very much. I've used it for the odd stormy seascape, and I thought it would be interesting to force myself to use it. Another one I want to force myself to use is Perylene Green, which is a single pigment made of palladian black, because it's black in mass tone and green when diluted down, but it's a very dark shadowy green, and I thought it could be interesting. Again, I've got this thing in my mind about sort of sunset kind of idea, and I thought maybe any foliage or whatever that was present might be very dark and subdued at that time of day. And finally, sepia. Again, Winsor & Newton sepia is fake sepia. Real sepia is the ink of the cuttlefish and related organisms, and this is a fake one made of synthetic iron oxide, which is what is used in things like brown madder, light red, Venetian red, English red, Indian red, and carbon black, and that's what gives it this kind of granulating quality that the real thing kind of has. So even though it looks very black in this lighting, I can assure you there is a brown, slight warmth to that swatch that I've painted there, and those are painted on a 100% cotton paper. They are on Langton Prestige hot press, and I may challenge myself to paint this in hot press paper because I don't usually do that, and it could be interesting, but I don't know if I actually will. That's it, and in 24 hours after I post this video, I will be posting my results, and I hope lots of you join in, because this could be quite a fun way to stretch ourselves and use up some of those supplies that we all have squandering. So good luck, and tag as many people as you can. Let's get this spread around. Thank you very much. Goodbye.